What is up? I'm Jared Welch. Aaron Halterman. It's Thursday, June 29th, and this is Blinkers Off. What's up, man?
What's up? What's up, everybody? Hope everybody's doing okay. Yeah, nice little Thursday Blinkers Off going on here. And Jared, I got to be honest. I mean, Ohio Derby turned out to be okay. Well, the aftermath wasn't, but it was okay. But I'm glad we actually have like a bevy of races, and we're not just kind of picking and like, oh well, we got to do something. Here's a random one. You know what I mean? It's nice that we're kind of back.
Yeah, and then the ultimate bummer of that is like the Ohio Derby, I would say, exceeded expectations a little bit because it was like that was a really wow performance from Two Phils, and now he's retired. Like by the time we get time to talk about it, to like be on this show and be like, wow, that was a great. He's done. He's gone, and so it's just like, okay, so it's almost like the race didn't even happen at this point because he's gone. Bishop's Bay, I think, is okay. I think he's whatever. I think they're going to stick to one turn, I would imagine, after that. I don't think he's awesome, but I don't think he's bad. But Two Phils was the star of the race, and now it's over. So
it's par for the course. I mean, that's all there is. That's all you could say for this season. This is who we are, right? As the late Denny Green would say, they are who we thought they were. And that just did. I mean, it's just like, what the hell? Like, I was like, wow, I'm really excited for this horse. And then boom, he's gone. And that's just over and over and over for this 3-year-old crop. So, I mean, here we are.
Into somebody, it's like, okay, let's go through a few of them. Arabian Night makes his kind of name. Boom, he's gone. And then, let's even go further back. Cave Rock, he's gone. Forte finally comes back. He kind of has fizzled out a little bit. And then now you've got Two Phils.
Loggins. Loggins was another one that looked like he was going to be special. He's gone. I mean, it just never ends.
I mean, Extranejo was last year, but that was a while back. But still, it just feels like every time we've had Shoddy got it. Some sort of a momentum of a horse. We're like, oh wow, that was really good. I mean, Two Phils, that was so impressive. Even though it was Ohio Derby, that was so impressive. The movie made and like the run, it's like, oh wow, this horse might be like the Travers winner. This horse might be the 3-year-old of the year. And then so it's almost like the survival of the fittest at this point. Who will be left at the end of this thing that we can actually crown a 3-year-old champion?
The scary thing is we really haven't got into like the second part of the quote unquote injury season. It seems like right before they get ready to run in the Haskell and the Travers, it kind of comes out that, if they were on the Derby trail, maybe they flame out, maybe there's little problems. We haven't even got to that point where we lose a couple during that time. So yeah, it's crazy. Listen though, great performance. I wish we could sit here and go, oh, this is exciting. And it was exciting, but we're never going to see him again. He's retired. So I mean, it's just what it is. And yeah, honestly, like practical move, right? I mean, that's one that it's like, where is he? What's he going to do now? You know what I mean? There's others like Instant Coffee was a horse we really got high on, ran a kind of a poor race. Never saw him again. I mean, it's on and on. Giant Mischief, where has he been? Just on and on and on. And it's not just the headliners. It's those, mid-pack horses as well. So it's one of those years.
And I'll throw you another one that's not, not like he wasn't going to be like the Travers winner or the Derby winner, but was kind of making his name of being like, oh, this might be like legit sprinter. Corona Bolt, he's MIA. Totally MIA. I being he was on the fantasy team, I checked the other day because I was like, where is that horse? And he hasn't had to work. He didn't work after whatever that race was at Keeneland, right? Mm-hmm. And then he came back and worked like once, maybe twice, and that was like in early May, and has not been seen again. So yeah, that was one that day at Keeneland. You're like, damn, this horse might be like a legit 3-year-old sprinter, and he's gone. So it's just like one after another.
Yeah, and having a meltdown is another one that you maybe think of sprinters when he broke down, and it's like that. What was he going to be? He was getting ready to win that by several lengths, and then that happened. So listen, injuries in this sport, they kind of go hand in hand. It just seems like this year has been just brutal for injuries. Worse than I can ever remember.
Yeah, and especially in a year that is weak. It was weak already, So
Yep.
it's like anytime you had, go Rocket Ride, even though he's back, that was a moment where you're like, oh wow, he might be
Yeah.
really good, and maybe he still is, right? We'll see him in the Haskell. It sounds like next, but you lost him for the whole triple crown due to scratching out of the Santini Derby with the fever or whatever it was. So, yeah, it's just been that way year round, all year. Yeah, well, I mean, then you got National Treasure, was awful all year, and then wins the Preakness. So uh, there's the other side to it, right? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, sometimes it works out well.
Yeah.
When is Mage coming back?
I haven't heard anything on Mage. Has there been a workout on Mage? I haven't even checked up on him. It's crazy how he's not, but in my mind, he's almost forgotten a little bit. I know he's not.
Yeah,
he
worked the other day.
Yeah, so he has one work.
Yeah, that was his first work since the Preakness on May 20th. He worked 6:23. So I guess they're gearing up for something this summer.
I mean, I don't think he could make it to the Haskell, could he? We're probably looking.
I wouldn't think, not off one work.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking 2-3 more works before he's ready. Maybe Jim Dandy. I don't know.
And he's one. I mean, I don't know. It's like it's hard to tell what he is. I still, the Derby was ultra impressive, and I think Two Phil's flattered that big time because he obviously is a very nice horse, or was a nice horse, but he should have won the Preakness, So it's just like, what is he? And when he does come back, can you? Mage feels like that horse that you're gonna be like all summer. You're gonna pick, and he's gonna lose, and then when you don't pick him, he'll win the Travers or something like that. Like he's gonna be a fresh Pennsylvania Derby, so something like that where he's gonna be a frustrating horse because he is clearly capable of running a big race, but he doesn't always do it.
I totally agree. He's going to be an issue one way or another on what you want to do with him. I don't know that he's that good. I think he ran an incredible Derby. I just haven't seen it other than that race to say he's a superstar. I think he's good, but is he as good as he was on the Derby day? His other races say no. He did have a little bit of an excuse in the Preakness, though, coming off a short breast. He did have a little bit of excuse in the Florida Derby with a poor trip. So you could also go the other way and go, well, with a clean trip and if everything works, he should win. And so he's going to be a problem one way or another. I mean, this class is really strange as we head into the summer. So it'll be fun to see how it kind of shakes out from that regard.
Shotty says she's hoping Disarm pops in the Haskell. And
yeah,
listen, there might be, if just off the top of my head, if you're, well, I guess extra Neo would be there. I'll put 4 horses then. 4 horses that maybe that were hurt by the injuries and the things that didn't go their way, or being late developers or whatever the case may be, that I think will benefit this summer, or could benefit the most this summer, is Disarm, Extra Neho, Go Rocket Ride, and Arabian Lion. Those are 4 horses that feel like could have big summers that didn't have great springs based off of either injuries or just, like I said, like Disarm wasn't really injured, but just kind of late to the game a little bit.
I like the last 2 better than the first 2. Disarm is getting there for sure. Extra Neho, he's getting there for sure, but I'm still not completely sold as far as, let's say, they win a grade 1 is what I'm talking about. And that opinion could change, definitely, but that's kind of where I'm at with it right now. And then, yeah, Go Rocket Ride, dude. I kind of feel like he might be a big horse. Like, he kind of looks to me like he's ready right now to go win it. And so I kind of agree with you on that Go Rocket Ride thing. I think he's going to be real interesting. Listen, I think where Extra Neho runs next is going to be really interesting as well. He's got a ton of options. So, yeah, but we'll see. Arabian Lion, the last one you mentioned, I don't know what the hell happened with him, but if he can keep running well, I think he's a stud, but I don't know. Is he just going to take another 5 months off? I don't know.
I think I think Extra Neo is gonna. I'd imagine run like well, he might end up running the Travers, but Jim Dandy or Curlin. That's got to be one of
Agree.
those. And
I
then
agree.
because he went up to Saratoga, so I mean he's there. Yeah, Go Rocket Ride is the one, and that was a big reason why I claimed him in our league, because I thought, gosh, man, this is Dale's really high on this horse. Like you don't see him act the way he did with that horse. Like he doesn't do that very often with these 3-year-olds, and we haven't really got a chance to see him like with a couple starts under his belt. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He's awesome, and then he gets hurt, and then it's like you're ready for him to pop in the Sandy Derby, or he gets it, whatever, and then he comes back off the layoff, and he was pretty good. So we're like, but he obviously looks like more to come, right? So
Mm-hmm.
he could be one of those we don't even know really what he is at this
Yep.
point.
Oh, I agree. I think he's going to be tough. I was high on him before all that shit happened too. Well, you were as well, obviously. Any word about Skinner? Just so you were talking, Jared, I looked it up. Skinner's had 5 straight weeks of works, so he should run any time. I don't know where, but he's ready to run, no doubt. Sorry, 6 straight weeks, 6 straight weeks of works. So anyway,
or work him right into a race. Sounds like, I don't know. Yeah, Skinner's another one of those. I mean,
yeah.
we had so many scratches that Derby that you almost forget about some of these horses that that would have got in or wouldn't have got in, and what they would. So yeah, we'll see what I would imagine with Sheriffs and Skinner. Like you got to think they might just stay out west for as long as they can.
It's always tough to guess what Sheriff's going to do with them, and he does work them a ton before he runs them. So we'll see. You mentioned like you forget about horses. Obviously I didn't forget about Skinner, but he was way out of my mind until I saw Ron's comment. I was like, oh yeah, he was nice. I did like him. So we'll see. And it is weird. Arabian Lion doesn't like California. His races outside of California have been fantastic, and the 2 inside of California couldn't have been any worse. So figure that one out.
Yeah, and another horse I forget about is Practical Move, and
Yeah, me too.
like not Practical. Is it Practical Move?
Yep.
Practical. Yeah,
Yep.
I always
Yep.
get because like not only did he just rolled off wins in out west, and then it's just like then he gets hurt, and then now it's like, oh yeah, I forgot about him. So there's a list of them. Has he worked?
No, he's on a and Shotty said she saw where it said Practical Move is on a break. No mention of how long. No work from him. I mean, I have no idea when we're going to see him. And again, this was a horse that had a fever, right?
Yeah.
And we're now in June 29th. That's a long fever. So there's something else going on with him for sure.
Yeah. Well, that's what they said about Go Rocket Ride too. And he took forever to get back on the work tab.
Yep.
As well, before you kind of thought, well, maybe they'll just roll him back right to like the Lexington or the Preakness or something. Like, no, they completely stopped on him, and so it's obviously, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a horse veterinarian, but there's got to be something more to it than the fever, just a random fever,
Yeah.
Or maybe the fever is a convenient excuse to, back off a horse like that. Like Go Rocket Ride made sense because they were kind of pushing them from go anyways. But, Practical Move was one that he's ran a lot. He's ran a lot of stakes. He's been a lot of stakes wins. So it's like something more seems to be going on there.
Yeah. So when Ain't Life Grand got a little sick last like fall, and they ended up laying him off for a long time, but it wasn't necessarily because of the fever. It was like he got over it, and then it's like we don't really have a place that we really want to run. Now let's just give him a design break, and we'll be back and ready for the big races we want to target in 2023. With Practical Move, there are races for him to run in, so that makes me think, yeah, there's something a little bit weird. But you never know. I mean, like I said, we're not around these horses. We don't know day in and day out what it means to get a fever, get sick, all that kind of stuff. So hard to speculate, but you said it. Go Rocket Ride's back. He's pointing for races. Practical Move is not.
Hey, speaking of that horse's trainer, Kelly, you got the win. Husker. If all you guys that stayed up late on what is that, Friday night, Husker Butch got the win. It looked for a half a second that you were going to get kind of a heartbreaker there after thought that horse might come up on his outside and get him, but he looked okay, man. So what's the word on old Husker? Are you going straight to stakes from there, or what are you thinking?
I told him we're going to the Queen's Play now, but then no. Look, all the credit in the world of Husker Butch. I thought he ran exceptional for him, right? I mean, he's not like a crazy talented horse, but boy, did he try. He dug in. So great job there. Elvin Gonzalez, tremendous ride. He's given him back to back, just tremendous ride. So I can't say enough about him. He's a good kid and he's riding really well. And Kelly's a legend, man. He's the best trainer in the country. I'll fight anybody that wants to argue with me on that. He the first couple of races, that horse didn't change his leads. They finally got him to change leads in this race. That's why he won. He changed leads and was able to hold off that 5. So, great. The connections were fantastic. The jockey and trainer deserve a ton of credit. And allowance. We're going with allowance race next, so we'll see.
Yeah, once he changed his leads, it was like, okay, he's got it.
Dude, they've been working with him. And I didn't think he's going to do it still, which would have led to a mad trainer for sure. I can tell you that. But once he did, I smiled real big. I was like, win or lose, at least we got the lead change down,
Yeah.
So,
so he wasn't claimed.
No. Well, it was a maiden special weight.
Oh yeah, that's right. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He wasn't that low yet.
No.
Yeah, wasn't a maiden claiming. It's always funny to me how, and I'm just like, I'm sure how you because you watch these races, especially owning a few of these more, where it's funny, where it's like, if you don't know really what the race is or anything, it's like you're right. He looked visually pretty good.
Yeah.
Like if a normal person just watched that, like is that horse going to the Derby next or what's that? Like because he looks professional. He looked, and you don't realize like that horse would get beat by 100 if he went to like the Travers or whatever. Just you know what I mean. But it's funny how that kind of race, and you watch all those smaller tracks, so you have to know the difference of the caliber of horses you're watching versus visually how good they look.
Well, that's why things like buyers are important. Like you look at his buyer, you got a 63 buyer. People are like, you broke the maiden, go to a stakes. It's like, he got a 63 buyer. Let's
if a horse that ran in like the Fountain of Youth got a 63 buyer, you'd be like, just take that horse to the pasture.
Exactly. So you're right. Listen, Kelly is the master at finding races that fit his horses. That's why he's been in the game 30 plus years and had the success that he's had. And he knows where to run, and he knew, hey, maiden special weight in Iowa, that's his game. So just like somebody would prep a horse for the Kentucky Derby, Kelly got the horse ready to run in special weights in Iowa, and we got to win. Now we got to do the next thing. And the allowance ranks, I mean, he's going to have to get in the 70s from a buyer standpoint to win those, even up there. So, where does he fit now? Might be claimer. We'll see, but we're excited. We got the win. And that's all that matters. He's paid for himself plus some now, so that's the good news.
Jesse says you could have beat him in a wheelchair.
Well, I mean, that's just it. Like,
how fast was he coming home?
You watch that race, you're like, God, he ran his butt off, and he did. That's one thing you can visually see when a horse is trying hard. You can see it, and boy, he tried. But then you look at it and go, well, he was the slowest horse at 6 furlongs that night. His buyer's this, and it's like, yeah, he's still not great, but we're proud of him. Listen, the purse was $34,000, so we're very happy with him. I'm gonna see him next week and give him a big hug. I can tell you that much.
Hey, what did you get? What did you? What's the purse for that race? What'd you get for the win?
Whatever, 60% of 22, I think 20, 24, something like. No, 18, 19. I don't know. 60% of 30.
We'll call it like
more.
$12,000.
No, it's more than that. I think it's 18.
Okay, well, you get halfway there. You're halfway there. Do you get your money back?
No, we're pretty much there.
I thought you said he cost $30,000.
No, the purse was the purse was 34,000.
Oh, I got you.
That he won. Yeah, so he cost 7,500.
Oh, well, heck.
Yeah.
You're in the black, man.
Now, the problem is double numbers also cost 7,500.
Well,
and he is no longer racing. So
you don't talk about that. So
yeah, we don't talk about him. But that's what Butch did. He made up for him and his buddy double numbers and his training bills. So now if he can win another one, we're in the black. So that would be great.
All right, well, let's get into today's racing. We have, like you mentioned earlier, we have actually some good. We have a classic, a Breeders' Cup Classic prep, a win in your in race. Yes, this weekend at not Churchill, but Ellis Park, the Stephen Foster. We're gonna preview and give picks for the Saturday's $1 million Stephen Foster at Ellis Park. Then we're gonna give rapid fire selections for some of the remaining stakes races this weekend at Belmont Park and Ellis Park, including the 400K Fleur de Lis. Also at Ellis Park. Let's go. Do you think it takes away? I mean, like from any, like if you win the Stephen Foster, but it was at Ellis Park, does it take it away from like? No, I mean not take it away. I know, but like, is it soften it a little bit or no?
Money's the same. Grade 1 status is the same. That's what most people care about in the ownership game. I think if it was me personally, it's hard to say if you haven't experienced it, but it may be a little bit, yeah. This is not a knock on Ellis, but it's not Churchill Downs, and it's not even close. Like Ellis is more along the lines of like a Remington Park, Prairie Meadows type of facility, right?
It's weird because it's like, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure you have done the same, but like when you look at the state past performances and you're like, wait, why was that horse running at Ellis? And you're like, oh wait, they would have been running at Churchill.
Yeah.
And so that you kind of have to take that into account. It's a little weird because you're like, well, assume these aren't horses that normally be running at Ellis. These are horses that were running at Churchill and just have to run at Ellis. So it makes it tricky to kind of go through and figure out like if it's just a matter of, like you're saying, like, are they actually needing to run it? Are they that caliber, or is it just what it is, you know?
Right. Yeah. I mean, a lot of times 2-year-olds will debut at Ellis that they don't really want to, if they're like Kentucky type guys, they don't really want to take them to Saratoga. And so you'll see a lot of good 2-year-olds, but like, the day-to-day racing, it usually isn't up to par. So it's this little transition's been weird for sure. And this will be the weirdest day of all with all these horses running there.
Well, I mean, let's get into it here.
Okay.
Saturday at Ellis Park, race 10, the grade 1 Stephen Foster, $1 million on the line, 4-year-olds and up, going 1 1/8 miles. And it is an official Breeders' Cup Classic, Longines Classic. Win and you're in. You win here, you're going to the Classic this fall at Santa Anita. And dude, Halterman, I mean, if you take out Cody's Wish and I guess Taba, even though he's kind of MIA, this is all of our older horses that, we have really the best ones we have to offer at this moment. 8 horses lined up to go on Saturday. And honestly, all but maybe 1 or 2 fit here. You've got the 2 McPeaks that are your top 2 horses. Number 5, Smile Happy at 3-1. Number 4, just was inside at 4-1, Rattle and Roll. You got Proxy, you got Stiletto Boy, Speed Bias, who I'm still not over that one, but damn near beat. Rattle and Roll, last out. West Willpower. What can he do? Will he rebound after a poor effort? Last out, Last Samurai for D. Wayne, and then Happy American. I would argue that even though I would be surprised if a bunch of these won, you can make a case for 6 of them easily to win here.
Yeah, I mean, you said it best. You add Cody, if you added the name Cody's Wish to this, and maybe like defunded from the Baffert barn, that's kind of the best older horses right now. I don't really count Taba. It's been so long since we've seen him, and he didn't run very well. I mean, he could definitely throw his name in the hat, but I'm saying for this purpose, right? As we sit right now, I don't really count him. So you're only a couple of horses short here of it really being the who's who for the older horses. So look, I think this is a really deep race. I think you're going to have to go deep to get through it, or you're just going to have to kind of get lucky and try to single one out. I put number 4, Rattle and Roll, on top here. I didn't really think I would do it coming in, but boy, he's just been really consistent. And he's been able to run at a lot of different tracks and run really well at a lot of different tracks. So, the move over to Ellis, this track is not for everybody. You watch these races, like Macharea acted like she didn't want to run a step last weekend on this track. I mean, it just plays a little bit different. Again, that's not a knock. That's just the reality of it. It's a kind of a quirky track. I think Rattle and Roll is going to handle it. So I like him a lot in the spot, but I really think McPeak's other horse, Smile Happy, has a big time chance. And I got to think Wes Willpower is going to bounce back from that poor effort as well. So I think the 4, 5, 6 right there are really interesting, but you could go deeper for sure.
Yeah, I mean the two. Well, I mean, I guess you could even say Last Samurai, but the two that not the three you mentioned, the two that I looked at for a long time is Proxy, obviously coming in off a win up in the Oakland handicap. Finished second in the Santa Anita handicap prior to that, beaten by Stiletto Boy that day. Stiletto Boy, I thought, got a terrible ride from DeSormo in the Oakland handicap. Maybe he rebounds a little bit here. He's capable of winning this race, no doubt about it. Both those horses are. It's just when I looked at this race, and listen, everybody just pause what you're doing. Look at the time of the day. Look at the date. Remember where you are right now.
Okay.
But when I looked at this race, I thought it has to be one of these McPeak horses that's going to win. I'm not going to tell you yet who I'm picking, but I am picking a McPeak horse at a short price to win this race. This is hell is frozen over now. I don't know what else to do. I wanted to pick Wes Willpower, but he burned me so bad last out. I'm convinced that it's Lasix for him. He needs Lasix, I think, where he's gonna run his best races. And I just, you and I both obviously backed him in a huge way that day, and he was terrible. And not only that, he got smoked by Smile Happy, who's in this race as well. So can he, turn the tables? I don't think so. So he's gonna have to run a lot better. It really came down to me, and I don't know about you, but like I'm having a hard time picking between the McPeak horses. I don't know which. I think you can make a very easy case for both of them.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. I had a hard time as well. I think Smile Happy ran a race at Churchill Downs that was pretty damn good. and I think if he can run that race again, if he brings that here, he probably is just the best horse. But, he also has run some races this year. It's like, yeah, that wasn't bad by any means, but it wasn't fantastic either. So he's tough. I think you have to use him because if his best race, I think, is a little bit better. But then you look right to his outside and look, I get it. Wes Willpower, I'm really mad at him too. But at the same time, that weekend at Churchill Downs, for whatever reason, a lot of horses just didn't fire, and they've come back and they've been fine after that. So it's just one of those things. I've kind of just trying to draw a line through it. It's when you're handicapping those 2 days. So I still believe in Wes Willpower. I think he could kind of bounce back, but I kind of just tried the more consistent of the McPeaks with Rattle and Roll. I just thought, man, he's just so consistent. He's turning into such a good horse. I'll just try to play that consistency and hope he can show up and do it again. But look, like I almost picked Stiletto Boy. Believe it or not, I almost picked Speed Bias. I thought Messiah as a board, Speed Bias looked really good last time. So there's a lot of different ways you can go where I'm not going to say, hey, I think you're on the wrong track,
Well, if you ask Magic, I think Speed Bias did beat Rattle and Roll 2 back. But that was a hell of a race from both those horses. And I agree. I do think that ultimately Speed Bias, there's a lot of speed in here. A lot of horses that want to be close to the lead. Stiletto Boy likes to be closer. Speed Bias, obviously. Wes Willpower, horse that's going to be close to the lead. And even Smile Happy likes to. He's been a little bit of both, but his last race he was closer to the lead there. Listen, I ultimately am picking, what could go wrong? I'm picking the shortest price of the McPeaks. So what could go wrong? But Smile Happy, that effort in the Al Sheba was just so impressive to me. And really, if you go back 2 back or 3 back, I should say, when he beat Speed Bias, he kind of beat him handedly, kind of late in that race. Well, it took all that he could to beat Rattle and Roll to beat Speed by. So the thing about the Rattle and Roll is he he hasn't been like his 3 wins was his 3-win race. Like he's looked good, but it's like he, like say the last race, he kind of got himself into trouble, had to finally got out late and then kind of cruised on by at the end. But he doesn't like put on these massive performances. He's been finding ways to get the job done. Whereas Smile Happy, I mean, that last race was massive. I mean, that was one of those, even though I hate, you hate McPeak or betting them at a low price. I don't hate McPeak, but you just think, wow, like stop. Even though we were on West Willpower, lost money, you're like, holy cow, that was impressive. Like he manhandled that group, and not to mention Art Collector got second. I just think the quality of the horses that he's beating are better with Smile Happy, so I'm gonna go Smile Happy. But honestly, it could go either way for me. I like both. I wouldn't say I'd be surprised, but I'd be a little surprised if it's not one of these horses that wins. Like maybe one of them doesn't fire, but it'd be hard to believe that both of them don't.
I'll disagree with that last comment. I wouldn't be shocked.
Based off of who trains, I guess. Yeah, that's true.
I can't argue though that that race Smile Happy ran in the Ali Sheba, that was definitely a whoa. That was really good. Like we've seen him good. I mean, we definitely have seen him good. We hadn't seen him like that good. Another thing I kind of think about with him, and I'm not labeling it as this, but if he doesn't run well here, does he just love Churchill Downs? Like his best races easily have been at Churchill Downs.
Mm-hmm.
When he gets outside of Churchill Downs, he hasn't been bad by any means, but he hasn't been quite as good. So maybe that could be a thing if he loses here, or not even if he loses, but if he just doesn't run as well here.
Listen, Tom, I kind of, well, I do agree it's close, but I do believe Little Boy has a lot of class in this race. And that's why I strongly considered using him. And if you wanted to twist my arm, I would go 3 deep instead of 2 deep with McPeaks and add Stiletto Boy, because that's the one that I would be upset that if I didn't use, just because I was all over him the last couple of races. He's also a horse though that's won one time since like in a year, basically of May of last year, where he won in Santa Anita. He hadn't won since. Then he won the Santa Anita handicap this past year. So he runs in a lot of big races. So there's the class, but he doesn't win any of them. So that's the issue with me for him. He hasn't done quite enough to like give me the confidence that he can jump up and win. I also don't love Kent DeSormo riding the horse. I wish we could get a little bit of a jockey upgrade, but still, like he has the ability to win these races, and he's shown it.
I think you don't get a jockey upgrade because he just doesn't win all that often, like you said. And I don't necessarily disagree with Tom. I think this horse is the class of the field. And I think he is going to be right there with a chance. Now, if you think he's going to roll by anybody, I think that's where it kind of, I would disagree. Is he going to be right there with a chance and hang with them and be, it's going to come down to the wire? Yeah, I think. And then if he kind of just gets lucky enough to get up there and win, I think he can do it. I mean, he always shows up and it's like, damn, he was close. Or, man, that was really close and he won. But he just kind of lacks that last little bit to where he can close out big races like this. But he's got a shot without any doubt. And he is damn classy. There's not many horses running right now that are classier than him.
I mean, you look at him like, okay, he's beaten by a nostril, really. Proxy and Last Samurai got third somehow in that race. He probably should have won the damn thing. Then he wins Standing the Handicap. The Pegasus, he finishes third to Art Collector and Defunded. Country Grammar beats him in the San Antonio. At that time, obviously, Country Grammar was running better. He's been beaten by Country Grammar a couple of times. He got smoked in the Pacific Classic to Flightline, but that one was his worst performance, because it's fine to get smoked by Flightline, but he also got smoked by Country Grammar and Royal Ship and a bunch of those horses. So he, for the most part, he shows up every single time. It's just, again, I just don't have the confidence that, like you said, like, will he be there? And like, if you have him bet, Tom, I think it was Tom that said that. Like, if you have him bet, you're probably going to get excited, right? He's going to give you a run. He'll either be in first late in the race or he'll be making his move. But do you trust him to get the job done? Do you trust him to hold off a few of these other ones? That's my concern with him. So,
yep, agree. That's going to be the big thing when the moment of truth comes. He usually just kind of hangs right there and makes you real nervous one way or the other. So, I have a lot of respect for him. I would not be upset if he won. Let's put it that way. I mean, he deserves another big win like this. And he's, if you want to bet him, I think he'll be every bit of 6-1. And I think from a betting standpoint, he does make sense. The price is going to be there on him.
all right. So let me ask the age old question. What's we don't have Cody's Wish in here, which is obviously, we at this point still we don't know, but we think that the plan for Cody's Wish would be Whitney into the Classic at some kind of a flight line ish path in terms of going from the mile to the stretching out and trying to get to the Classic. So assume that he's the leader of the Classic division. And I don't know, do you assume that right now?
Oh yeah, I do. And I think, pedigree wise, 1.1 miles should be fine. But yeah, I think he's the leader in the clubhouse.
So past that, here we are. And again, Taba, I'm with you. It's like until proven otherwise, he's just kind of off the table. What if it's either one of the 4 or the 5? I mean, frankly, you can make a case for all of them as far as West Willpower. But if you see a wow performance, if Smile Happy does another Al Sheba, are you like, oh, like maybe this is a horse that could make some noise in the clock? Like if Cody's Wish doesn't either A, make it there, or B, doesn't go the 1.25 miles, could one of these horses out of this race be the horse that you look at, we head to the Breeders' Cup Classic?
Yes, I think so. I think it's that.
If it's not, who else are you looking at? Like that's the other thing.
That's just it. I mean, we don't know who these 3-year-olds are yet, as far as how are they going to do facing olders. I mean, they're going to play a factor in it. But as far as the older horses we have right now, if a couple of them run big here, yeah, absolutely, they're going to be involved, and they're going to be horses we're going to take serious. So, sure. And I think, Smile Happy repeats that kind of effort. He's probably going to be like number 2 on the list. Where some of the other ones, I mean, Rattle and Roll could move up as well. Some of the other ones we kind of know they're a little bit hit and miss. So, I don't know how high we'll rank them, but yeah, some of these horses are going to be serious classic, threats. It just depends on how they kind of run in here. Because, like I said, it could be 4 or 5 different ones that win, or it could be a dominant Smile Happy that wins too. You just don't know.
I mean, really, any of these horses that are, I mean, you gotta think Proxy still, even no matter what happens, really, unless something were to go wrong. It's Proxy, Stiletto Boy, it's McPeak, so you got to probably think both those horses. West Willpower, we know Last Samurai. I mean, there's like 5 horses in this race easily that probably will be in the Classic, regardless, right?
Yep.
Because where else would that? It's the way that there'll be, either whether it be Lucas or McPeak and some of these, Proxy, these guys, like these horses, that's where they're gonna point, regardless of if they run well here or not.
100%. Yeah, and that's the other thing. I mean, if you've got a horse that's decent this year, you don't have a ton of horses you're scared of. I mean, Cody's Wish is pretty scary, but you just don't know. It's not Flight Line, right? Like you don't know how he's going to go 1.1 miles and all this stuff. So yeah, I mean, I would say that the top 3 or 4 horses could end up in the Classic out of this. So it doesn't have like the, oh my gosh, type of name to it. Like a Maxfield when he ran in this, or whoever, or Olympiad, you put him in that, but it does have a lot of horses that are going to be there one way or the other.
I mean, it's the thing, like Ron says, like the older and younger horses keep taking turns beating each other. The Classic would be a very good betting race if Cody's Wish doesn't stretch out. It would be a good betting race. It would be a bad race, just in terms of what's probably going to happen is we'll be, Taba, like all of a sudden figure, he becomes like, goes out west, back home and just runs off the screen. Who after he's been, he'll have him run in like the, something late Pacific Classic or something, and then go straight from there to just straight there and dominate the Classic. So
I don't know that he's very good.
I
To
don't
be
either. I don't think he
completely
is.
honest, he may not be that good, honestly.
I mean, he's obviously got some major issues.
Yeah.
He's like MIA. So, yeah, maybe it's Arabian Night or Arabian Lion, one of the Arabians, maybe one of those horses.
It's a situation where a 3-year-old can catch fire and do it, right? Because I mean, Cody's Wish aside, we don't know what he's going to do stretching out. If he's just as good stretching out, maybe not as much. But if a 3-year-old really catches fire, that means they're developing, right? And they develop and they develop, and then boom, they pop. That's kind of what the type of 3-year-old that wins the class. I think of it Arrogant. That's an extreme example, but like Arabian Night, if he goes bam, 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 rattles off three stakes, it's like, well, all of a sudden he's looking a hell of a lot better than 8 or 9 of the older horses. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like I always think of Arrogant too, even though, like you said, that's an extreme example. But is there a horse that could pop, could get going late in this, and all of a sudden be like, well, I mean, and especially if Cody's Wish doesn't do what we, like he doesn't look as good or whatever. It's like, well, are you going to go with, say, McPeak or with Proxy or something? Or are you going to go with this 3-year-old that looks like he might be figuring it out, And it'd be hard pressed. Earlier in the year, I said, this feels like a year that the 3-year-old could win the Classic, just because. And of course, that was when it felt like we had a lot of good ones, but they just kind of, just went away. But the point kind of still stands, and I think more so because of the older division just being, other than Cody's Wish, is just where do you go?
Yep.
Yeah, Arcangelo, I guess we'll see what he does or what he's about. I mean, he's got to kind of prove it after. Is he the Belmont horse, or is he kind of average? We'll see in his next when he makes another start. But yeah, I mean, it definitely feels like not just from the 3-year-old division, but the olders. We got a lot of figuring out to do this summer, and it starts here. You guys heard it here first. You've got a McPeak Exacta on blinkers off, and it's not a McPeak Exacta like 10-1 and 8-1. No, these are your 2 top choices to win the Stephen Foster. Hell is officially frozen over. Those are our picks for the Stephen Foster on Saturday. Wow.
Yeah, that's great.
I mean, I thought about, I was like, yeah, I get it. Like, I don't ever pick, but I just couldn't go against him.
I took the one that wasn't the favorite. See, so I got around it.
I hope Rattle Roll goes off the favorite. Just
yeah, right. He'll be the post time favorite. Oh Lord, just my luck. We're gonna be so mad when Wes Willpower wins that race.
I know, dude. I know. That's the horse, right? He looks like a freak. The horse that we bet $200 on the nose last time, and he's gonna just like the same time of the race when he just was backing up and Smile Happy was going right by him. That's when he's just gonna zip on and keep going. We're gonna say, really? Where was that?
It will be so infuriating. And it's almost like I know that's what's going to happen.
I know. It's like when you if you're ever against a horse or you don't have a horse in your pick 5 or whatever, it's always that horse that beats you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, the only good thing is I will have that horse in the pick 5. So,
well, then he won't win.
Well, I know, but I'm saying if he was to win, he's gonna knock me out of a win wager, He's
wasting. He's gonna win. He's wasting money on if you use him, and if you don't use him, he'll cost you money. That's just he's that kind of horse.
So yeah, if I'm alive, he will lose, right? He'll lose like by a nose. But if I'm not alive, then he'll win by like 8, so it won't matter, right?
Yeah, that's true. I really I love that horse. I thought that's the thing too. It's not like I never liked him. Like I thought he might be like the classic type horse
Yep. Yep.
going into into the Al Sheba, and then he did that, and I was like, oh, maybe he's not, because
Yep.
it wasn't like he had no excuses in that race, whatsoever.
No, and everybody thought that from a training standpoint, connection standpoint, I should say, everybody thought he was really going to roll. So, yeah, it is what it is. It happens.
All right, time for Rapid Fire presented by Racing Dudes Best Bets. Go over to racingdudes.com right now and check out the new Best Bets page on the main menu. You can just click there. There's a couple options, and you can see everybody, not just myself and Halterman, but everybody on the team at racingdudes.com. See what the best bets are. And it's not just horse racing. Obviously, that's going to get bigger as we get into the summer racing, but right now, we've got everything from, right now it's mostly baseball, but, we got a little CFL action from Magic. Halterman, you've got, holy cow, how many baseball plays do you have today?
I've got 9 plays today, and we are off to a great start. Pittsburgh Pirates plus 170 just closed out, just came home. So the Pirates win to kick us off with a plus 170 bet there. They were down 4-0, came back to win 5-4. So excited about that. Hopefully the luck keeps rolling in on these next 8 games that I've got going today.
Your dad is on fire as well. Has
Yes.
been winning baseball games left and right. So, if you want to follow any of these guys, myself included, if you want baseball plays, Halterman is your guy because he plays 42 a night. I typically play only 1 or 2, maybe a parlay or 2. And then on the weekends, Friday through Sunday, I play a lot more. And of course, horse racing, I focus a lot on that as well. So really, if it's everyone asks us, hey, who do you like? You guys give us a lot of picks. Who do you guys really like? Who are you playing? Well, there you go. It has not only that, but it shows our results, our tracks, everything, our profits, our win-loss records. You have leaderboards to see how we're doing in particular sports. It really is the future of these sites. So make sure you go to racingdudes.com and check out the best bets page before you make another wager. All right, let's stay here at Ellis Park. Let's go back a few races. Race 8, the Fleur de Lis. It's a grade 2 worth $400K for fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and up, going 1 1/8 miles. Didn't this used to be the staff winning her in, didn't it?
It did, yeah.
Not anymore, but you gotta assume there's a few of these that will end up in the Breeders' Cup as well. Field of 8 shows up here. Another field of 8, 8-5 on the 6th. Amore for Brad Cox. Can this horse rebound here? And then you've got Pauline's Pearl at 3-1. I wouldn't bet that with your money. 5-1 on Belmont, 6-1 on Moon Swag. Those are really your top choices here. But do you like Amore at 8-5?
I don't like 8-5, but I do think she's the best horse. So I did go number 6, Amore on top. I mean, I just think she's a little bit better than these horses. I think she can outclass this group. I thought about the 7 for a minute, couldn't quite pull the trigger. Thought about the 1. I just kept going back to the 6. So I'm going to take Amore, the 6 horse in the Fleur de Lis.
I hope that I don't get, and I'm probably going to get burned, but I hope that the last 2 races from these 2, West Willpower we talked about, and then Amore this time, these last races of theirs don't deter me so much that I'm off of them. 2 horses that I was on big time going into those races. I just, I get that she was beat by Played Hard, Secret Oath, Search Results. I mean, obviously a very good 3 horses there, but didn't run particularly great, flattened out late in the race as well. Amore did. I'm not totally convinced that the mile and 8th is going to benefit her a ton, so I'm just a little bit iffy on Amore at 8-5. So, but I get also why you would pick her, because it's not a lot of options. I ended up going with the 1 at 5-1, Bellamore. Going back to the dirt, I think will help. This is a horse that's kind of been all over the place, synthetics, and ran a lot on turf. But in the last 4 starts, has ran on dirt twice. Ran second, I'm sorry, in both those races. 2 Played Hard and Adair Manor on dirt. So this is a horse that obviously handles the dirt okay, and also runs has the class ability, runs in stakes races, even though it's on a lot of them are on the turf. I do think this horse can handle the distance just fine, and the dirt we know she likes. So in here, what I think, if Amore runs well, like I don't think she can beat Amore, but I'm hoping, or I'm banking on the fact that I think Amore may not run particularly great again, and then I think Belmont is classy enough and steady enough to where she can get the job done. So I got number 1, Belmont, but I will be using Amore because I'm not going to let her beat me after jumping ship. All right, let's go to the next race, the Wise Dan Stakes. This is race number, what race is that? Race number 9. The Wise Dan Grade 2 worth $400K for 4-year-olds and up, going 116 miles on the turf. Field of 10, headlined by another Brad Cox horse, 4-5. Set piece at 4-5 halter. And where you going here? Is Brad Cox going to just rattle off a pick 3 here with all these horses?
Well, I get why set piece should be 4-5, and will probably be pretty tough in here. But this horse has lost a lot of races too, where he was a short price. So I did kind of go back to set piece a little bit as far as playing them in the pick 4s and 5s last time out. I'll do the same again. I will use set piece in here. But I'm going to go with, I can't believe this. I'm going to go with another Kenny McPeak horse here. I'm going number 3, Camp Hope on top in this spot. Coming off an allowance win at a mile, looked pretty sharp. This kind of feels like a horse that's kind of on the upswing for Kenny McPeak. Ran a very big race over that Churchill Downs turf course. I think he shows up with a good race here. I think there's a ton of speed. I think he comes closing late with a shot. I know it kind of sets up for the 8 that way too, but give me the 3, Camp Hope at 5-1. I'm going to take a little bit of a shot in here.
You're going for the McPeak double. I mean,
I guess
what could go wrong? A lot is the answer. I'm with you. Set piece. I did pick set piece last time because I wasn't as much of a hater as you were. I just can't play set piece at 4-5. This is a horse that's won once in the last 5 starts. Or 4 starts, I'm sorry, but still, it's like this horse does a lot of like, here he comes, and it's like he's too far back or whatever. Like he just doesn't get the job done. So I'll kind of take the wait and see on him. I know I wouldn't be against using him in your. You're gonna have to go against somebody. It's in the sequence. That's the thing. Like you say, well, I'd use him just to protect myself, but if it goes Amore and then it goes this horse and then the next race it goes like the McPeak horse or whatever, you're like, well, great. That's super chalky. So you got to go against somebody. The horse I'm going to go with is number 4, Get Smoking. This is a horse that got beat, I'm sorry, by set piece last time out in that Arlington. But, it seems like a horse that is running, at least is shown to be capable of running big time races going this long, going mile 16th, has kind of consistently gotten 4 starts at this distance, 1 win, 3 seconds. So likes to get second, get tired, pass late. But I just think that this is a horse that is gonna get brave. And I looked at this, there was a lot of pace, but I just think this horse might be the pace of the pace. And if this horse gets brave out there, and then some of these horses aren't quite good enough to come get him, I think this horse could have a big chance to win here. So I like number 4, Get Smoking. Take another kind of another shot with him. The fact that Cassie's bringing this horse back at this distance tells me he's not afraid to do it once more. So give me number 4, Get Smoking this time to hold off set piece or anyone else that comes running late.
You made me think of something as you were talking, because we were talking, I think it was 2 weeks ago, about how different situations allow for different bets. Because we talked a lot about how Twitter was getting all over you because you made a straight pick 3 wager for a decent amount of money on 3 favorites. People are like, oh God, what an idiot. Well, this is what we're talking about, because you just rattled off. You could play a straight pick 3 with Caravel, Cody's Wish, and Up to the Mark. Okay. Like you did. Or you could play a straight pick 3 with Set Piece and Smile Happy. And who was the other one? Amore.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're talking about. People on Twitter assume if you post a bet, then that's just what you do every time. Well, that would be insane if you bet a straight pick 3 with those 3 horses I just listed. And that was the whole point, right? You look at the sequence and then you make your decisions. You're not making that decision with those horses.
That is a really good way to put it, because you look at those three horses. One of these is not the same.
Yeah, by a large margin.
Cody's Wish, the best horse in the country.
Yeah.
Up to the Mark, the best turf horse in the country. And Caravel, maybe the second best turf horse in the country.
Well, and the best turf sprinter in the country.
No doubt.
Yeah.
And versus Amore, who didn't win last time. He just a McPeak horse and set piece.
Yeah.
It's like, come on. So it's just like, yeah, that's a great way to put it. You don't have to play everything the same. And by the way, I got like 20-1 or 24-1 or 25-1 on that pick 3.
And that's probably what you would get on that one that you just mentioned.
And again,
it's so many people think you just have to do the same thing. Same thing. Well, that's what you do every time, obviously, because you have to do the same thing. There's handicapping and then there's wagering, and they're two different things. And you make decisions. Like if you say you have those three horses on top, say like they just fall out to be your top horses, you still don't look at that and go, well, I'm playing that straight for 100. Never. Yeah. Right. So that just made me think of that. So
I do think, Chris, there is, even though I picked him to win, like, I don't hate the idea of playing like, if whoever you like, on top and keying the 4 in second, like I like to play, especially with horses like him, where it's like, I think he's going to run well. I think he's going to get caught late kind of thing. So I think he's going to hold second, but who is it going to beat him? So you could play, set piece over him isn't super sexy, but if you wanted to, I guess, but to me, it'd be like play, the Halterman's horse, and maybe play like, I don't know, the play action pass horse was the horse that I looked at for a little while. Maybe get some value there. If you do one of those to get up and nail the 4 on top, then you could talk about a juicy exacta.
Yep.
You could play the 8 over the 4, and it would still pay okay. So, but yeah, the idea of keying a horse like Get Smoking is a good horse to key, not only because he likes to get second, but the way he likes to get second. It's not a horse that comes running late or something. Like he's going to be there. It's just a matter of who's going to pass him late.
Yep. 100%.
All right, let's go to Belmont Park for a couple here in the Dwyer Stakes, race 6, grade 3, 200K for 3-year-olds, going 1 mile. Field of 6 lines up here. 8-5 favorite. Fort Bragg back with Baffert. We thought he'd be back in the Woody, but had to scratch out of that. Stayed at Belmont Park, so that's good. And going to be back with Baffert here at 8-5. 2-1 on Saudi Crown for Brad Cox. This is an up and coming 3-year-old, only has made 2 starts, kind of working the ranks up there, but man, has looked really good in those starts. So the question becomes, do you take Brad Cox with the new shooter, so to speak, or Fort Bragg back with Baffert?
Does it kind of feel a little bit like Bishop's Bay versus Two Phils to you from last week a little bit, where you got the Cox horse and he's kind of the up and comer. He's looked really good, but there's this experienced horse that's looked really good too, and is probably just going to have the experience and beat him. That's what it felt like to me. I went number 5, Fort Bragg on top. I just feel like, he's got a little bit of an experience edge. If it kind of, I think if it gets close, I think the 5 is able to kind of outclass him. That's not to say that Saudi Crown can't win. I haven't looked at the sequence as a whole, so I don't know what I'll do yet as far as pick 5s go, but I think on top, Fort Bragg is the one to beat in this one. I think he'll outclass Saudi Crown a little bit in the spot.
Yeah, the more I looked at like every race from both Fort Bragg. What's that, buddy? You want some Doritos? What do you guys think? Should we open up the new bag of Cool Ranch Doritos? And it's. Let's see what the people say.
Well, how long of the show do we have left, and how many could be on the floor when you're done?
Well, that's true, and it's like it's unsupervised, so he's gonna be. Are you gonna make a mess?
Do we eat the whole bag? Do you think they'll eat the whole bag?
Yep.
I could eat the whole bag.
You're being good. Well,
they have been good.
It smells like poop. Okay, well, everyone says to let you open these.
Oh God!
So appreciate it, guys. Yeah, this is a good flavor, Shawty. Here you go.
It is a very good flavor.
He also said his brother's hand smells like poop, so that's good.
Oh, that's a whole nother problem.
Tell him to keep his hand out of those, please.
Good idea.
Okay. Tell him to wash his hands. Oh my gosh, this kid. Cooper, would you rather have those chips or chicken nuggets for the rest of your life? Chips. There you go.
Huh.
I think I would too. I'm a chips guy. That's like I'd rather have chips than like candy.
I agree.
I love chips.
By the way, we should bitch. Congrats! I had no idea, Christopher. So that's yeah. Congratulations on that.
Nice, dude. Congrats. Jack, awesome. I mean, you gotta bet. That's a Slim special. Slim is so like when he has a horse that's named after so and so, blah blah. He bets it. So that's you gotta bet the horse. So
yeah, for sure.
That's just good parenting. Yeah, Chris, I don't know if this is your first or but if you need any parenting advice, just let me know. I've obviously got it figured out. One kid's hand smells like poop. The other one's opened a full bag of Doritos.
They're both going to eat out of that bag. So if there is something on his hand, he's going to put it in his mouth.
Look at the chip. Like, that look like poop to you? Yeah. Let me tell you the secret to parenting. The other day I was cleaning the house, and I found it on. That's like the places I find crap is I found it on the handrail going down the stairs.
Yeah.
It's like how do you? I couldn't even dream up that that's possible. But when you have boys, you assume that poop can end up anywhere.
That's wild. That's wild. Yeah.
And he's right behind. You can't see him, but he's literally right behind me because he said he didn't want to go in there and have his brother stick his hand in the chips. So.
Well, okay, no, that's smart though. I give him credit for that.
Oh yeah. He's thinking about it.
Yeah.
All right, let's back to racing.
Okay.
I looked at this race for a long time. I looked at every replay from Saudi Crown and Fort Bragg, and because I just think it's got to be one of those two, and two, like Saudi Crown is a very interesting horse. Had ran at Keeneland. I thought the Keeneland race was way good. The Churchill Downs race was okay, but it wasn't as good. I didn't think. Showed a little bit different dimension going straight to the lead. I think this is a horse that still's got to have some figuring out to do. Obviously hasn't faced anything quite like this. He's going to be facing here, particularly Fort Bragg. I think you were too. I think a lot of us were picking Fort Bragg to win the Woody, weren't we? I mean, I know I was, but I think a lot of us had Fort Bragg.
I did, yes,
to pick until he scratched. And so to me, it's like he shows back up here. Here's a case of a horse Halterman that was off for a week or two, and now he's obviously not an issue. Whereas a lot of these horses we don't see we talked about earlier with like Go Rocker Ride and Practical Move. He's back. He's stayed at Belmont Park. He's been working at Belmont Park. I think that's a great sign. So I'm with you. I like Fort Bragg here. I think he's going to outclass him more than anything else. Do you think that Johnny V getting the mount here is going to change any of the style of the horse? Do you think this is a horse that could end up on the lead, perhaps?
Maybe in a 6-horse field for sure. I'd say that's a possibility, but I don't know if it'll change all that much. He's pretty speedy anyway. So I think he can kind of, if Saudi Crown goes out there, he can kind of sit off of him. And if nobody goes out there, I think he can take the lead if it's kind of given to him. So he'll just kind of play that by ear. I don't think it'll be a big deal that he's on one way or another.
All right, let's go to the next race here. Last race here. Then race 9, the John A. Nerud Stakes Grade 2, or $250K for 4-year-olds and up. Going 7 furlongs. Field of 7 lines up here. It's maybe not this is easily the worst bunch that we've talked about so far in these races here, the 5 races we've talked about, Candyman Rocket is your favorite at 2-1. So 7-2 on Wayburn. Now with Todd Pletcher, that's what that was interesting. 3-1 on Little Vic. Thoughts on this race? Not the strongest, John A. Nerud.
No, it's definitely not. Candyman Rocket's running exceptionally well right now. I get it. He's probably the one to beat. He's a nice favorite here. I've always liked Wayburn, the 3-horse, and he's always been real hit or miss. When he runs well, he's tough. Now we're with Pletcher. That's enough for me to give him a shot here. And I also think he really likes this distance. So with the distance 7 furlong, now we're with Pletcher. Always kind of liked him anyway. I've had some nice scores with him in the past. I think he's going to run an improved race here today. I like number 3, Wayburn, in this spot as a little bit of not a long shot by any stretch, but a little bit of an upset here if he stays at 7-2.
Yeah, it not to say that he's had bad trainers really, because Jerkins and Walsh, but it's like it's weird to me that like he's finally with Pletcher. Not to say that he was going to be all along, but my point is like he's had 4 wins in 16 starts, and 3 of those 4 wins came at this distance, 7 furlongs. And it seems like it's taken us this long to kind of hone him in at this distance. And I don't know why, really. And so it's nice to see Todd Pletcher now training the horse. And really, you look at the Westchester, and it's easy you look at the lines and say, well, that wasn't very good. And granted, it wasn't amazing, but he did get a big number. You go back and watch the race. Repo juiced at in that race. Yeah. Like he just and Zandon beating them sucks, but they were right. I mean, they finished 2-3 by nose, so it was just right there. It was like, so my point to that is the running line looks worse than I think it really was because Repo Rocks did what he did. So I thought, I picked him that day in the Shackleton. Like, he looked awesome. Dean Delivers came back to win nicely. The horse that he beat that day, Collaborate, he beat Collaborate 3-back. White Abario beat him, but Collaborate came back to win out of that race. So I do just think that he's running against better horses. Now he's with Pletcher. He likes this distance. I'm with you. I'm hoping we get anywhere in the ballpark of 7-2 because of Candyman Rocket being in the race. A lot of times this is a race that we see for sprinters moving forward, but I don't know that. I mean, I guess maybe Wayburn could figure his way in, and Candyman Rocket could figure, one of those two could figure their way into the sprint. But do you take anything out of this race moving forward, do you think?
The sprint's pretty light once you get past Elite Power, right? And so yes, because of that, I don't think any of them are world beaters by any stretch of the imagination. But because of it's kind of a light race, I do think we might be able to see something come out of this.
You've had some good ones, like Life is Good. Obviously, ran in this last year.
Yeah.
Mind Control, Promises Fulfilled. I'm trying to see if there's any other. Limousine Liberal, Mind Your Biscuits. Won this race a couple years ago. So it's obviously been a pretty decent race as far as the sprinters go. Life is Good, obviously headlined that last year. What? Okay, I'll make sure Cohen doesn't get in here. He's still worried he's protecting the chips. But I'm with you. I got number what number is Wayburn? Number 3, Wayburn. Yes, Jesse. Anything is possible with boys. It's just you gotta. A lesson I learned, because I'm a neat freak and I run a pretty tight ship here, and but the one thing I've learned over the years of being a dad, especially being a single dad, is like you just have to kind of let it go. You have to let it happen. To an extent, right? But you have to kind of let them be boys, and then you got to keep it wrangled a little bit, and then you clean it up later. I used to be like, I remember when I very first had kids, like, it'd be like they got a mess out, and then this mess is getting cleaned up while that mess is coming out. You're constantly, and you're like, dude, I'm gonna wear myself out doing this. This is insane, because it's just you feel like it's just like you're vacuuming, and behind you there's someone eating chips. So it's like you might as well just wait.
Right. That makes sense.
All right, it's all the time we have. Check us out at racingdudes.com for our free picks and our premium selections on our products page. Click the Get Racing Dudes premium button at the menu at racingdudes.com to learn more. Remember, go check out that best bets page. Follow along with myself, with Halterman, Magic, everyone on the team at racingdudes.com. You can just buy their picks and get. If you look at Halterman today, the ultimate value in picks. You got how many baseball games you got left? 8.
Got 8
games?
left. Let's see. There are 3 in play right now, so there's 5 that haven't started yet. And like I said, we did get the Pirates home. We're trying to get a couple more home, but it's still early, and the other ones we've got bet.
Remember, Racing Dudes is on Twitter at racing _dudes, Instagram and Facebook. You can find all episodes of Blinkers Off by visiting our podcast page, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, all the places you listen to a podcast. We are on there, as well as the Magic Mike Show and Due to Bet Sports. Those are both coming up here later today, 4 p.m. Central. The Magic Mike Show will be doing the Woodbine. Did I read that correctly? The Woodbine Saturday late pick 5 for all you Woodbiners. And Due to Bet Daily will be on at 6 p.m. Central Time. Halterman and his dad talking about the Belmont. There you go. Saturday late pick 5. So you're getting a couple pick 5s there on the later shows. Of course, we talked about some Ellis Park, a lot of that pick 5, the late pick 5 there, as well as some of the Belmont. So you're getting a ton of picks coming up later today. I was going to say something. What was I going to say? Oh, I saw this comment. Wait till they go to sleep. That's the problem, Shot. I have to do that a lot of times, but a lot of times I fall asleep too. You're so worn out through the day. I can't tell you how many times I've woken up like at 4 in the morning. I'm like in their bed still, in the Cooper's bed. I'm just like, at that point, you're just like, oh, well, I'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah. There's always tomorrow.
Yeah. You're always, as long as the house doesn't get, there's other times though, where there was one a couple weeks ago where Cohen woke up in the middle of the night puking, it's happened. Obviously, if you have kids, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I was still up, and they were in my bed, mind you, because I let them sleep in my bed. And it was one of those scenes where it was just like, I don't even know where to start with this. Like, do you burn it down? Do you get the kids out and just burn the house down? Do you start over? It was just like puke was everywhere. It was all over the bed. It was all over the floors. It was like it was sprayed. And middle of the night, you got the kids asleep in there. It was awful. There's times like that where you do wish you had the ability to start over. Or yeah, Shotty, you have no idea. Cooper's sound asleep. There's like puke like right next to his head.
Oh, God.
From Cohen. And like I pulled Cooper out. It was bad. It was like, I had to hose Cohen down in the shower, get him back in his bed, wash the sheets, and you can't just leave the puke. You gotta you gotta clean everything because it's middle of the night. It's fun times.
It doesn't sound that fun.
Don't you wish you had kids, Halterman?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So what are you guys talking about? I thought you guys are you guys doing aliens and ghosts, or what's the deal?
No aliens, ghosts. We're waiting for you on that one. We're doing Belmont pick 5. If Magic Mike said we're doing Woodbine, I was like, well, great, we'll cover the pick 5 at Belmont. So
yeah, thanks for giving that one to us. Appreciate it.
I mean, yeah, thanks for the great content that we usually just give to the Magic Mike Show. So okay, I'll take it.
But, meanwhile, Shotty, it's like, you flash to Jared and he's like, the sirens are going off and I got puke all over me and I'm crying, and you look over to Halterman and he's rolled over in the middle of the bed, and he's like, oh, and he maybe like goes and lets the cat out for a second. And
nope, she doesn't go outside.
Pets the cat. And
there you go. Pet the cat. Yeah.
And then goes back to sleep and you hear the peaceful music. So, no, next week for sure, 100%. I know my schedule. Next week we'll do ghosts and aliens on Due to Bet Sports.
Can't do it next week.
Why?
Iowa Festival of Racing next week.
Oh, we can talk about it for a little while.
Okay, fair. Good point.
By the way, just to prequel. I don't know what's the proper word for that. I did have it pegged on here that I would mention it. Aliens and ghosts
Okay.
are both 100% real.
Okay.
Okay, so let's start with that. So that would give people something. I don't have proof of either.
A great start.
I mean, I don't have like documented physical proof of any of them, but I just believe that they're both okay. If Bigfoot, no.
No.
The Loch Ness monster, no.
No.
What do you think? Are aliens real? No, he says no.
He's right.
What about ghosts? Nope, no ghosts either.
He's wrong.
You have anything else? What about Ninja Turtles? Are they real? No, not real.
He's right.
We'll talk more about it. Well, I mean, I just believe it's been way too many instances of. You've got to admit, there's way too many like unknown things happening in the air and the world that it's got to be aliens.
It doesn't have to be aliens. That's where we disagree.
What would it be then?
I don't know. Could be a lot of things. It's in the sky. You can't see.
Isn't a UFO an unidentified flying object? It's unidentified.
Okay, UFOs, of course. You said aliens. I don't think aliens have been here. That's where I'm at with it.
Oh man, I think
there's no secrets anymore. And if somebody saw an alien in their backyard, like that one article you sent, the first thing they would have done is get their phone and take a picture of it.
Well, I saw
a
long time ago.
What'd you see?
It was a snake and Mommy New House.
You saw a snake?
It was a
Mommy
snake.
New House.
Those are real.
So are snakes real? They are real.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, you know what? I don't think we didn't play Would You Rather with you last week. So let's get someone. One of you guys get a Would You Rather for this kid.
Yep.
He's good at these games.
I forget the question last week.
Okay, what was it? The shark or the snake, right?
Yeah, I don't remember what it was. I don't remember what it was called. Or I don't remember what exactly it was.
Would you rather get bit by a shark or get bit by a snake? If you had to pick one, would you rather?
Either by a shark.
A shark?
Shark? That's crazy.
Wow.
Oh, that's right, because Cohen asked if it was a rattlesnake or not. Yeah, that's right.
Oh, yeah, there you go, Shoddy. Would you rather fight a bear in the woods?
Oh, yeah.
Or fight a shark in the ocean? He's terrified of bears, by the way, Shoddy. So I don't think you're going to get the bear one.
Yeah, because I'm not going to get because he could eat me. I said, I'm not going to get a bear one because he could eat me for death.
He's going to eat you for death.
I got nothing. I'm not going to steal nothing.
We have a thing of woods down below my house that literally is like
a
group of like 20 trees, small trees.
If that.
And he always asks me, are there bears in these woods? I said, no, I don't think so. Don't think so. But
no, I think snakes.
Huh? Oh, snakes. Well, we know there's snakes. We saw a snake out there one time, but
those are scary.
He come out of there.
Huh?
I think he come out of there.
You think he did?
Yeah.
The snake did?
No, I think that's a rattlesnake.
Oh, it's a rattlesnake?
And it's
what?
It's a butt snake.
A butt snake?
Yep.
Oh.
They have so many.
What's the difference between a rattlesnake and a regular snake?
I think whoever wins, a shark or a snake, to win on a fight.
A shark or a snake who would win?
On a fight.
On a fight?
I think a shark wins.
I think the shark would just bite him in half.
Yeah.
Just like, bam, he'd be over.
Who gonna win about this?
I got one for you.
What?
Who would win in a fight, me or Aaron?
I think both of you. Both of you.
It'd be a tie. We would both be awful. Neither one of us would do anything. Yeah, that's probably about right. Yeah.
Whoever win, you win, you can get all of Cohen money at he wins, he never gonna get money.
He doesn't get money if he wins, but I get money if I win.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Nice.
No, you lose, you don't get any money. He wins, he get money.
Hey, you gotta be nice to Halterman. He bought you all those wrestlers. So.
That's right.
He'll take them away from you.
No, I won't.
All right, guys. Any final thoughts, Halterman, before you're back here in a couple hours?
I think we're good. I think we're good. I think now I've got to go study for this pick 5 at Belmont, and hopefully we can hit it.
This kid's a future politician. Yeah, he likes to. This kid's got more personality than anyone I've ever met. It's so funny. Cracks me up. He's my joker of the group. So
Yep.
he's always good for some commentary. And he likes to play. He's like the one that like he gets really like he'll tell on his brother for hitting him or whatever, and then I'll go and get on to Cohen, and then he gets mad at me for getting on to his brother. You know, he likes to play both sides. He is definitely a politician. So, yep, I'm done. Tell everyone bye.
Yep.
By the way, everybody, let's see. Yeah, everyone, have a great 4th.
Yep.
Right? This weekend is, or I guess Tuesday is the 4th. So everyone have fun, shoot off some fireworks, right? You're such a dork. And everyone, you know, what do you say? Buy some fireworks? Say go America. Huh?
I said buy some butts.
Buy some butts. Okay, guys.
There you
We're
go.
losing them. It's over. I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Halterman. What's your name?
What?
Cooper. This is Blinkers Off. Thanks, everybody, for joining us, and good luck this weekend, and happy 4th of July.